Hi, I'm Robin. Today I'd like to walk you through our mix and match beaded jewelry kit. As we make the jewelry, you'll learn how to add a clasp using a crimp bead. Your kit includes enough beads to make 3 pieces of jewelry, at least 1 necklace or multi-strand bracelet, and 2 single-strand bracelets. This video is a supplement to your kit, so be sure to keep your leaflet handy when creating your jewelry. Let's begin! To determine your bracelet length, wrap a piece of string or yarn loosely around your wrist and cut the desired length. Cut off 1 inch to represent the clasp and the split ring. And my string measures about 6 inches, so the beaded section of my bracelet would also measure 6 inches. Now let's decide which pieces of jewelry to make. Look through your leaflet and decide which multi-strand bracelet or necklace you would most like to make. Remember, you don't have to use the exact same beads that we did. Lay out the beads to make that piece and set aside. Decide what you'd like to make next, lay out those beads and set aside. Keep repeating until you have set aside beads for 3 pieces. You'll probably have extra beads that you can use to create additional pieces or matching earrings. You'll need additional wire and findings to complete those. If you're a beginner, I would suggest starting with the single strand bracelet, then moving to the necklace or multi-strand bracelet. Lay your string on a piece of felt or hand towel so that your beads won't roll around as much. And then line up your beads along the length of your string so you can see how many you need to complete your bracelet. And keep lining up beads until it's the same length as the string. Cut a piece of wire 4 inches longer than the desired bracelet length. String a crimp bead over the end of the wire and about 2 inches down. Then put the wire through the hole of your clasp and put the short end back through the crimp bead. Slide it up close to your clasp, and you may also use your needle nose pliers to give it a nudge up there fairly close, and then flatten them with your pliers so that it will secure the clasp onto the wire. Now we're ready to add the beads. String your beads onto the wire, and the first few you will want to slide down and make sure that they cover the end of your wire. Continue threading them on until you get to the other end. Once you have all your beads strung, string on a crimp bead and a split ring, and then thread the end back through the crimp bead and through 1 or 2 additional beads. Tighten it. I'm going to grab it with my tool here, and I want to make sure that the beads are all nice and tight. Once you have them all tightened, go ahead and press to crimp the bead, and then you can trim the excess. Wasn't it easy to create the single strand bracelet? The necklace is also easy, but it's made from the center out. Cut a 30-inch length of wire, thread an E-bead onto it, and slide it to the center. Hold both wires together and string on 3 to 5 additional beads, including a focal bead or filler bead. This will create your dangle. Now separate the two wires and string beads on each one until the necklace is the desired length. You'll probably want to string the same beads on each side, but you wouldn't need to do that. You can see that I put a piece of tape on the end of the wire to keep the beads in place. And then just continue putting your beads on until it's the desired length. Check the length and then go ahead and add the clasp and the split ring just like we did for the single strand bracelet. Next, I'll walk you through creating the ladder bracelet. Cut a 20-inch length of wire. Lay the beads for the rungs on a piece of towel or felt and keep the extra E-beads handy. Each rung is a focal or filler bead with an E-bead on each side. This bracelet is strung from the center out. To begin, string the center focal bead and slide it to the center of the wire. String 3 E-beads on each side of the focal bead. So now in the center, you have your focal bead and 3 E-beads on each side. String the beads for the next rung through one end of the wire. So that's an E-bead, a filler bead, and an E-bead. Then thread the other end of the wire through those same 3 beads. Pull it tight, and now you see the center focal bead with one rung completed. String 3 E-beads on each wire. You may find some E-beads that don't have a center, but you have plenty of E-beads that you can just set those aside and dispose of them. After we add 3 more E-beads, we're ready to add the next rung. Again, I'll thread on an E-bead, the filler or focal bead for that rung, and another E-bead. Then I'll take the other end of the wire and thread it through those 3 beads. And pull tight. You'll continue adding 3 E-beads in between each rung of the ladder until you have reached a measurement that is half the length of your string minus a 1/4 inch. So my string was 6 inches long. That means I'll end when my bracelet measures 2 3/4 inches. Once my beaded section measured the 2 3/4 inches that I needed, I strung 4 E-beads on each wire, and then I'm going to thread each wire through the last E-bead on the opposite wire. Now string another E-bead on each end of the wire. Pull tight and hold both of them together and thread both of them through another E-bead. Now you're ready to thread on your crimp bead and your clasp, and finish like we did with the first single strand bracelet. Cut another 20-inch length of wire and slide it through the center rung beads. Be sure to get it through the E-bead that's on each side of that center rung, not just the focal bead. And you may need to do one bead at a time to be able to bend the wire so you can get it through the E-bead. There we go. And then adjust it so that that's at the center of your wire. Then you will add 3 E-beads on each wire end. And you notice I'm just using this time the end of the wire to pick up the E-beads. That's a much quicker and easier way to do it. After you've got 3 E-beads on each end, you're ready to thread the next rung, which is an E-bead and one of the focal or filler beads and another E-bead. Then again, you will repeat the process from the other half and string the other wire through those beads and pull it tight. Continue until you're to the end. You have the correct measurement. Go ahead and finish it as it says in your leaflet, but I would suggest that you may want to try it on before you actually crimp your crimp bead, just to make sure it's going to fit and you didn't make any mistakes in measuring. Thanks for beading with me today. These jewelry pieces will make a terrific addition to your wardrobe. Wear them with pride and wait for the compliments.